When I saw my engagement ring on my sister-in-law's finger, I knew the battle was on, but they had no idea who they were dealing with. My name is Clara, and I never imagined the most painful betrayal would come not from my husband, but from his family. A family I considered my own for 3 years. But sometimes life teaches you lessons that make you realize trust is a luxury you can't give out freely. It all started on an ordinary Thursday when I stopped by my mother-in-law Margaret's house in Portland, Oregon, for her apple pie recipe. I'd been trying hard to fit into my husband David's family. Margaret was unique. The kind of woman who smiles to your face while sharpening knives behind your back. But I thought we'd found some common ground. As I walked into her house, I heard laughter from the living room, a familiar, feminine laugh. It was Sarah, David's younger sister, 23, spoiled, living off her parents' money. But that wasn't the issue. The issue was that on her left ring finger was my engagement ring. Not a similar one. Not a look-alike. My ring. A pear-shaped diamond, a family heirloom David gave me when he proposed 2 years ago. A ring I wore every day, only taking it off to wash dishes or shower. A ring that vanished from my nightstand a week earlier. Sarah caught my stare and proudly raised her hand. "Look, Clara, isn't it gorgeous? Mom and Dad said it's a family tradition to pass the ring from mother to daughter. David just let you borrow it for a while." The room spun. My face felt cold as the blood drained away. Margaret stood nearby, smiling smugly, as if she'd just handed her daughter an ice cream cone. "Tradition?" My voice sounded distant, strange. "But that's my ring." "Dear." Margaret stepped closer, placing a hand on my shoulder. "You understand, this ring has been in the Harrison family for 3 generations. It belongs with family. And Sarah is our blood daughter." Blood daughter. Those words hit harder than a slap. So I wasn't family. After 3 years of marriage, family dinners, holidays, and nursing Margaret through the flu? "But David gave it to me," I said, trying to stay calm. "He proposed with that ring." "Of course, sweetie," Margaret said, her tone like she was explaining something to a slow child. "But that was temporary, until we found a suitable match for Sarah. And now she has Michael from the Thompson family. A perfect match." Sarah giggled, twisting my ring on her finger. The ring tied to so many memories, symbolizing my love for David. "Don't worry, Clara," Sarah added with fake concern. "David will get you a new one. Something suitable. Suitable. For someone like me. Not one of them. Not blood." I turned and left without a word. No recipe, no goodbye. Just their smug laughter trailing behind me. In the car, I gave myself 5 minutes to cry. Just 5. Then I started the engine and drove home to David. He was in the living room, watching football. My husband. Tall, chestnut-haired with kind eyes. The man who was supposed to protect me, stand by me. "David." I sat across from him. "We need to talk." He glanced up, saw my face. "What's wrong, honey?" "Where's my ring?" He froze. I could see him scrambling for an excuse, but the silence stretched too long. "David, where it is my ring?" "Clara, I can explain. Explain why I saw my engagement ring on your sister's finger." He looked down, avoiding my eyes. "Mom said it was a family tradition, that the ring had to stay in the family, go to Sarah. She was insistent. And you agreed. I didn't know how to say no. You know how Mom gets when she's set on something? So you can't say no to your mom, but you can lie to me? He looked up, guilt in his eyes, but not remorse. Guilt for getting caught. Clara, I'll buy you a new ring. A beautiful one, even better than the last. It's not about the price, David. I stood, my voice rising. It's about you giving away the ring that symbolized our love, our bond, without my knowledge, without my consent. It's just a ring. Just a ring? I couldn't believe my ears. The ring you proposed with? The ring I wore when I married you? He stood, tried to hug me, but I stepped back. Clara, please, don't make a big deal out of this. We'll get a new one, even prettier. That's when I realized he didn't get it. Not at all. To him, it was just a replaceable object. I'm going upstairs, I said. I need to think. In the bedroom, I locked the door and sat on the bed, hands trembling. Not from anger, from realization. I was never truly part of this family. To them, I was temporary, someone they could push aside. But David's betrayal hurt the most. My husband, who should have had my back, chose his mother's side. The next few days were tense. David acted like everything was normal, but he avoided my eyes. I, meanwhile, made plans. I'm not one to swallow insults. I grew up in a family where you fought for your place. My dad was military, my mom a teacher. They taught me to stand up for myself. First, I investigated the family heirloom. I called my friend Emily, a jewelry appraiser. I need a favor, I said when she picked up. Can you appraise a ring? Not for sale, just for my own curiosity. Sure. Bring it over, I'll take a look. Here's the thing. It's not with me, but I have very clear photos. Very clear. I remembered every detail of my ring. The diamond shape, the cut, the tiny inclusions that made it unique. I described it all to Emily. She said after my description. Sounds like a mass-produced ring, probably from a jewelry store, not a family heirloom. But bring the photos, I'll tell you more. I had plenty of photos, wedding shots, anniversaries, everyday moments. I picked the clearest ones and went to Emily. The results were beyond my expectations. Clara, Emily said, examining the photos through a loupe. This is definitely not an antique. Based on the setting and stone mounting, it was made no earlier than the 1980s, probably the 1990s. So, not a family heirloom? Definitely not 3 generations old. 1, at most. And, she paused. Clara, I don't want to upset you, but this isn't a real diamond. The room spun again, this time from anger. What do you mean? It's a high-quality cubic zirconia, a fake. A good one, but still a fake. Real diamonds have different light refraction, different inclusions. This is too perfect. I sat there, processing. So, the 3-generation heirloom was a cheap fake David bought at a store, and his family knew. They knew and still used it to humiliate me, to make me feel unworthy of even a knockoff. Emily, I said when I could speak again, I need one more thing. Can you order a ring? What kind? A real one. The best you can find. Money's no object. She raised an eyebrow. Clara, what are you planning? Justice, I said. Justice and a little revenge. Over the next 2 weeks, I crafted a perfect plan to restore justice and put David's family in their place. First, I ordered the ring. Not just any ring, a work of art. A 2-carat flawless diamond in a handcrafted platinum setting. The price would have made David faint. But I had savings, an inheritance from my grandmother, saved for a rainy day. The rainy day had arrived. While the ring was being made, I dug deeper. The Harrisons, it turned out, had a habit of embellishing their history. David's father's successful business was just a small plumbing store sold a decade ago. Margaret's aristocratic roots were pure fiction. The juiciest tidbit came from Margaret's neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, a woman who'd lived next to the Harrisons for 40 years and knew all their stories. "Family heirloom?" she said when I broached the topic. Dear, the only heirloom ring I know of was Margaret's mother's, a plain gold band, no stone. Margaret sold it 20 years ago when they hit hard times. The puzzle pieces formed a clear picture of lies and manipulation. Finally, my new ring was ready. Emily delivered it personally, and when I opened the box, it took my breath away. The diamond sparkled with 1,000 facets, the platinum setting crafted with exquisite care. A ring every woman dreams of. "Clara," Emily said, shaking her head. "Are you sure about this?" "Absolutely," I said, slipping it on. It fit perfectly. "What will David say?" "We'll see." I smiled. My first genuine smile in weeks. The opportunity came a few days later. Margaret was hosting a family dinner to celebrate Sarah and Michael's engagement. Of course, I was invited. Who'd miss the chance to admire the happy couple and their heirloom ring? I spent the day preparing. Hair, nails, my best dress, black, elegant, figure-hugging. David whistled when he saw me. "You look stunning," he said. "New dress?" "Not just the dress," I said cryptically. He didn't notice the ring. My new, real, breathtaking ring. It was on my right hand for now. I'd move it to my left at the perfect moment. Margaret's house was packed. Harrisons, friends, neighbors, and the Thompsons, Michael's parents, who owned several restaurants in town. Sarah flitted around in a pink dress, flashing her ring, my old ring, the fake she thought was an heirloom. "Look at Sarah's beautiful ring," Margaret announced loudly when the Thompsons arrived. "A family treasure, passed down for 100 years. 100 years now? Amazing how legends grow." Mrs. Thompson, an elegant woman in her 50s, took Sarah's hand to inspect the ring. "Very lovely," she said politely. "Though, an unusual cut for an antique." Margaret's smile faltered but quickly recovered. "Family jewels are sometimes reworked to suit modern tastes," she explained. "Of course," Mrs. Thompson said, but I caught the doubt in her eyes. Dinner went as expected. Talk of weddings, plans, business. I smiled, played the happy daughter-in-law. David even said later he was proud of me. Proud. He'd soon learn just how proud he could be. After dessert, Margaret suggested moving to the living room. My moment had arrived. As everyone settled with coffee and brandy, I stood. "Before we continue celebrating," I said, drawing every eye, "I'd like to say a few words." David looked surprised. Margaret smiled encouragingly, thinking I was about to toast the couple. "You see," I paused, savoring the moment. "I've been thinking a lot about family traditions, about how important it is to pass down values through generations." Nods of approval, smiles. And I realized the most important tradition is honesty. Honesty between family members. Margaret's smile wavered. "So, I want to share a story about a ring that was supposedly a family heirloom passed down through generations." All eyes were on me now. Sarah instinctively covered her ring. This ring, I pointed to her hand, was my engagement ring. 2 years ago, David gave it to me when he proposed. A week ago, it vanished from my nightstand and appeared on Sarah's finger. The room went silent. Mrs. Thompson raised an eyebrow. Mr. Thompson set down his coffee. I was told it was a family tradition, I continued, that the ring had to go to the blood daughter of the family. David paled. Margaret opened her mouth to speak, but I raised a hand. But here's the interesting part. I decided to look into this heirloom ring's history. I pulled out printed photos and documents from my purse. It turns out the ring was made in the 1990s, not the 1920s as claimed, and definitely not the 1880s as it later became. Margaret's jaw dropped, speechless. And more, I said, relishing every word. The ring isn't set with a diamond. It's cubic zirconia. A very good fake, but a fake nonetheless. Chaos. Sarah gasped, staring at her hand like the ring had turned into a snake. Margaret went so pale I worried she might faint. That's not true, Margaret stammered. The ring was passed down in our family. Mrs. Harrison, Mrs. Thompson interjected. I used to be a jewelry appraiser before the restaurant business. If you'd like, I can confirm or deny these claims. Margaret closed her eyes. Game over. But that's not all, I said, slipping the ring off my right hand. You see, I decided to start my own family tradition. I placed the ring on my left ring finger. Even in the dim light, it sparkled so brilliantly it took everyone's breath away. This is my new engagement ring, a 2-carat flawless diamond in a handcrafted platinum setting, a family heirloom I'll pass to my children. Mrs. Thompson gasped. Even Mr. Thompson leaned forward to get a better look. It's magnificent, a guest whispered. Yes, I smiled. And the best part? I bought it myself, with my own money, because I learned you can't rely on others' family traditions or gifts. You have to create your own. I looked at David. His mouth was agape, eyes darting between me and the ring. David, I said, I'm giving you this ring, not as a symbol of our love. That seems to mean different things to us. I'm giving it as a symbol that I won't tolerate disrespect anymore. I took off the ring and handed it to him. If you want me to wear it, you need to earn it again. Earn my trust. Prove I'm worth more to you than your mother's opinion. David took the ring with trembling hands, clearly registering its weight, its quality, its cost. Clara, No words yet. I cut him off. I need actions. I turned to Margaret. As for you, Mrs. Harrison, thank you. Thank you for the lesson, for showing me who's who in this family. Margaret finally found her voice. Clara, this is a misunderstanding. You wanted to put me in my place, I said calmly, to show I'm not real family, that I'm not worthy of even a fake you passed off as an heirloom. I turned to the guests, most of whom were watching with rapt attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry family drama disrupted your evening, but sometimes the truth needs to be said. I grabbed my purse and headed for the door, pausing to turn back. Oh, and Sarah, dear, your ring is very cute. I'm sure the cubic zirconia will last a long time. Just remember, fakes need extra care. The door closed behind me, but I could still hear the shouting and accusations from inside. David came home 2 hours later. I was in the kitchen sipping tea, reading a book, as if nothing had happened. Clara, he said, sitting across from me. We need to talk. I'm listening. Why didn't you tell me? Why stage that performance? David, 3 weeks ago I tried to talk. You said it was just a ring, that you'd buy a new one. You didn't get that it wasn't about the ring. Then what was it about? You choosing your family over me, letting them humiliate me, lying to me. He was silent. David, I don't mind you loving your family, but I'm your wife. I should be a priority, not the only one, but a priority. I understand, he said quietly. I was wrong. Yes, you were. What do I do? I took his hands. First, decide who matters more, your mom's opinion or your wife. That doesn't mean stop loving your parents. It means defending the family we built. And then we figure out if we have a future. He squeezed my hands. Clara, I don't want to lose you. You're the most precious thing in my life. Then prove it. In the days that followed, something unexpected happened. David took action. He went to his parents and had a serious talk. I don't know exactly what he said, but the results were striking. A week later, Margaret called. Clara, can we meet? I need to talk. We met at a cafe downtown. Margaret looked older, tired. For the first time, she wasn't the confident queen, but an ordinary woman. Clara, she began, fidgeting with a napkin. I want to apologize for everything. I stayed silent, letting her speak. David told me a lot about how I've acted, about how I made you feel. She met my eyes. I didn't realize I was hurting you. Margaret, I said carefully, you knew exactly what you were doing. Why else say, blood, daughter? She flushed. You're right. I was scared. Of what? Losing my son. That he'd love you more than me. Her voice trembled. I know it sounds childish, but David's always been special to me. My firstborn. When he married you, I felt like I was losing him. For the first time, I saw Margaret not as a malicious mother-in-law, but as a scared woman afraid of being alone. That doesn't justify what you did, I said gently but firmly. No, it doesn't. Clara, I want you to know the ring was my idea. David didn't want to do it. I pressured him, manipulated him, talked about family traditions. She sighed. There were no traditions. That ring was bought for you. And I couldn't handle that he chose you. And now? Now I'm sorry. Not because David made me, but because I truly regret it. You're a good wife to my son. The best. I was a fool not to see it. I studied her. For the first time in 3 years, she seemed sincere. Margaret, I don't know if we can be friends. Too much has happened, but I'm willing to try a fresh start. If you really want it. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I do. I really do. Then there are conditions, I said. 1. No more coming between me and David. 2. No more direct or indirect insults. 3. If we have kids, you're a grandmother, not a third parent. Agreed, she said quickly. To all of it. Good. Let's try. We shook hands. Margaret smiled, a genuine smile, for the first time. Clara, one question. That ring you showed at the dinner, did it really cost a fortune? I laughed. Yes, but you know what? It was worth it. You should have seen Sarah's face when she realized she was wearing a fake. Margaret laughed too. Poor girl. She couldn't believe her heirloom was zirconia for a whole week. And her engagement? Michael's a good guy. He said he fell for Sarah, not her ring. They married a month after that night. How are they? Happy? Michael works. Sarah helps at his restaurant. For the first time, she feels useful. We talked for another half hour about plans, life, the future. As we parted, Margaret said, "Clara, I want you to know I'm proud you're part of our family. Truly." At home, David was waiting, holding the box with my new ring. "How'd it go?" he asked. "Better than I expected. Your mom, she's changed. I had a serious talk with her, told her if she didn't stop her games, she'd lose me for good." I sat beside him. "David, I need to say something. What I did at the dinner, it was harsh. I could have handled it differently." "No." He shook his head. "It was necessary. I let Mom control my life for years. Without you, I wouldn't have seen it. Still, Clara, you were incredible. You stood up for yourself, showed everyone who you are. I admire you." He opened the box. "Will you wear this ring again? As a symbol of our love." I looked at it. Still stunning. But now it meant more than jewelry. It was a symbol of learning to protect myself, to value myself. "Yes," I said. "I will." David slipped it onto my finger. It glowed in the setting sun, filling the room with warmth. "Clara," he said, "you're the most important thing in my life. Not Mom, not family, not anyone else. You. And I'll never let anyone doubt that again." "I know," I said. "Now I know." We hugged, and I felt we were truly a family. Not just husband and wife, but a family ready to protect each other from the world. 2 years later, Margaret kept her word. She changed. We're not best friends, but we respect each other. Sarah and Michael are happily married, and David and I have a daughter, Emily. When I look at my ring, I don't just remember that day everything changed. I remember what I learned about myself, that I'm worthy of respect, that I have the right to defend myself, that real family isn't about blood, it's about standing up for each other. When my daughter grows up, I'll tell her this story. I'll tell her about knowing her worth, and I'll pass this ring to her, not as a tradition, but as a reminder to never let anyone diminish her value. In the end, the best family traditions are the ones we create ourselves. Did you like the story? Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next interesting story. See you tomorrow.